So what do you think of the apron I'm wearing? I was actually quite proud of myself for wearing it, and I think this is the only video that I have ever worn this apron. The idea was to keep my clothes clean. Dyeing yarn is obviously a very messy process, and I get it everywhere. And I thought to kind of cut down on the clothes that I've ruined over the years, that I would wear an apron to keep or to minimize the mess. And also I thought it looked very professional. So I love the way this looks, and I wish it's something that I had kept up, but I didn't. But at least in this video, I think the apron looks very cute and it served its purpose very well. In this video, I'm going to be dyeing a little order of very pretty yarns. So as you all know, I do wholesale orders from time to time for yarn stores, and I ship all over the world. In fact, my yarn is very well traveled. It's better traveled than I am. So, like I said, this is a small order, but it is a very lovely order. I love all the colors that were chosen, and I had a lot of fun getting this order together. So just join me, sit and relax, and watch my process as I get this wholesale order ready. So as always, I start my dye process with getting myself organized. I have my recipe book of all my colors. I always have that close at hand so that I can refer to it and make sure that I'm following carefully the recipes for the colors so that they do come out. I always stress how important it is to keep really good records of the colors that I develop, because I want these colors to be repeatable. So I'm very detailed in what I write down so that I can get similar results over and over again for my colors. For the most part, I enjoy every aspect of dyeing yarn, but I have to admit there are a few tasks that I don't really enjoy. I do it because it's necessary, and that's mixing the dye colors. I don't know why, but I just find doing this very boring and tedious, and I don't know why, because it's not difficult. I just don't like it, and I think it's because it disrupts my workflow when I'm being creative and pouring the color on, and then when I run out of the color and then have to make up more of it. I think I just find it irritating because it just I think it's simply because it disrupts the creative process, and then I feel like I have to get into the zone again after making up more of the color. So it's not a difficult thing to do, but I just find it a little bit irritating. That's why I try to have as much of my colors ready to go before I start dyeing, because I know that I hate this process. But the fact is, depending on how much depending on how much yarn I'm dyeing, I eventually am going to run out of the colors. So, it's just something that I have to deal with. But all in all, I really do enjoy dyeing yarn. But of course, there's going to be little irritating things that are part of the job. But really, I can't complain, because how many people get to create art and make a living off of it? Very few people are able to do that, so I really shouldn't complain. So I just wanted to say a few things about safety when using these types of dyes. I use acid dyes when I'm dyeing protein fibers, and it's a relatively safe dye to use, but you should use some precautions. So I always make sure that I have a mask on when I'm dealing with the dry dye powder, just to keep it out of my lungs. And another thing that's good to do is to wear gloves. Now, you'll see in this video in particular, and in some of my other videos, I don't always have gloves on. And it's not because I'm being careless. Well, maybe a little bit. Again, I really do hate to disrupt my workflow. And when I'm in the zone, sometimes there's times when I really need to feel the yarn, and wearing gloves is very awkward. Taking them on and off, I don't always remember to put them back on when I'm working. So that's why sometimes you'll see that I don't have gloves. It's not because I don't care about my health, or it's not that I don't care about having dyed fingers. I really don't like that. It's just me forgetting to put them back on. I've tried using those thin latex gloves, and they just don't last. They rip easily, and my fingers end up getting stained anyway. So a heavier glove I find is better, but I do find them awkward. So you can see here, I do have the gloves on. I have remembered to put them on. But when I have to manipulate the yarn, I have to take the gloves off so that I can feel the yarn and do it properly, because it's just too hard to do it with the gloves. And then I don't always remember to put them back on. So there has been comments about the fact that I don't wear the gloves all the time. And so I know that that is a concern. And I just want to assure you that I do try to be as safe as possible, and I'm not being neglectful. Wear your gloves, wear your protective mask, because safety with using any kind of chemical, even ones that are fairly safe, such as these acid dyes, it is always good, especially if you're going to have a lot of exposure to them, to be as safe as possible and just use common sense. Labeling the yarn is always one of the most satisfying parts of the dyeing process. I really don't consider the yarn finished until it's wrapped in its label and has the information pasted on the back of the yarn type and the weight and all that information that you need when you're using my yarn in your projects. I just think these labels finish off the yarn. It makes it look nice and professional. And of course, I've washed all this yarn after I've dyed it, and I've cut off any extra yarn ties that are there just to really make a nice, neat finished project. I usually show that in my videos. I didn't show it here because it's kind of boring and kind of like mixing the dye. It's not my favorite part of the dye process, washing the yarn and getting it all finished up, but I really do enjoy labeling it. I find that so satisfying, and I love just admiring all of the finished yarn after it's been labeled. Well, I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing all of the pretty little yarns that I dyed for this order. I really enjoyed working on this. The colors chosen were so beautiful, and it was just a pleasure to dye this yarn. If you like what you saw in this video and would like to see more, then please like, share, and subscribe so that you can be notified when I put out new videos. Please keep those comments coming. They really encourage me to keep putting out my videos when I get lots of positive feedback. So again, please keep those coming, and I really do like reading your comments. I wanted to thank you again so much for supporting my channel, for watching my videos, and I look forward to sharing so much more in the future. So until next time, bye.